Welcome back to From the Pages, and the April 1986 wrestling world bursts open with the kind of table of contents that reads like a loaded arena marquee. Rating the Wrestlers, Volume 26, Number 5. A complete listing of the top 50 wrestlers in the United States compiled by the Mattingly Sports Bureau. Promising champions, contenders, and all the movers and shakers who matter in the ring. Followed by Matt Mail, the lifeline of letters from readers who live and breathe the action. Then the Dream Team's nightmare begins, where Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, guided by luscious Johnny Valiant, stare down the most talent-heavy tandems in the World Wrestling Federation, bent on flipping their dream into a nightmare. Then the plot to dethrone the king, as Rick Martel, balancing a punishing schedule, finds himself squarely in the sights of the ring's biggest heavyweights. Around the world in a daze with the Prince, an insider's look into Kevin, the Prince of Darkness Sullivan, and his latest satanic recruit, Maha Singh. Plus, the mystery of Bob Roop's fate. Says Boris to the world, Zuchoff, where the reviled Russian renegade Boris Zuchoff ignites a new Cold War in every match. The Devil and Jos LeDuc, charting the Canadian strongman's turn from beloved lumberjack to title-hungry hunter, the real rock and wrestling connection. Revealing the deep-rooted ties between music icons like Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano, and the Squared Circle, the Lariat. Texas rides again, celebrating Stan Hansen's cross-Pacific dominance with a clothesline understood in every language. And finally, the regional reports, with Al Tessitore in the East, South Carolina Williams in the South, Len Matthews in the Midlands, Twig Martin in the West, and George Napolitan in the Caribbean, delivering territory news from every corner of the map. The masthead rolls out the names behind the magazine. Publisher John J. Plunkett, art director Larry E. Matthews, editors Stephen Chiacciarelli and Thomas Walsh, production leads, ad representatives, and the Lexington Avenue, New York headquarters, capped with a promise that Wrestling World hits your hands 6 times a year, all rights reserved, printed in the USA. A fortress of wrestling journalism guarded by the fine print of copyright law. The action jumps right into Matt Mail, where fans from coast to coast flood the mailbox with praise, complaints, and raw emotion. Each note a snapshot of what the sport means to its most loyal followers. Voices defending hometown heroes, calling out injustice in the ring, or sharing personal run-ins with the stars, all answered in the editorial tone that keeps the conversation lively. Then the first major feature blasts in. The Dream Team's nightmare begins, where Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, riding high under the cunning guidance of luscious Johnny Valiant, find themselves squarely in the crosshairs of hungry challengers. The narrative setting the stage for battles against the most polished tandems in the World Wrestling Federation. The tone mixing hype with foreshadowing of the trouble ahead. An ad break cuts in like a ringside vendor on a hot streak. A full-page mail-order offer for glossy wrestling photos. An array of black and white and color shots capturing bodies mid-air, grimaces mid-hold, and belts raised high, sold in bundles or custom-picked sets. Back in the features, the momentum carries into the plot to dethrone the king, a hard look at Rick Martel's reign and the growing list of super heavyweight threats circling him. The piece detailing the champion's schedule, travel miles, and the bruising reality of being the man everyone wants to topple. Another advertisement leaps in, this one promising the ultimate wrestling reference book, packed with biographies, title histories, and rare photos, complete with a mail-in order form that urges you to act before supplies run out. The tone turns darker, with Around the World in a Daze with the Prince, where an unnamed associate of Kevin, the Prince of Darkness Sullivan, spills the details on Sullivan's latest underling, the imposing Maha Singh, and hints at what became of Bob Roop, the prose dripping with satanic imagery and ominous foreshadowing, painting Sullivan's faction as a cult-like force creeping across territories. Without missing a beat, the next headline barks defiance, says Boris to the world, Zuchoff. Frank Amato's deep dive into the despised Russian villain, Boris Zuchoff, who turns every appearance into a Cold War skirmish, rattling audiences and foes alike. The coverage underscoring his vicious offense and the political heat he draws in every town. A mail-order ad breaks in with a pitch for back issues of Wrestling World, neatly bundled and shipped straight to your door, reminding fans that the full history of the sport is only a postage stamp away. The section barrels ahead with The Devil and Jos LeDuc, where John Woods chronicles the once-beloved Canadian lumberjack's descent into darker allegiances. Suggesting he has traded his soul to chase the world title, the narrative loaded with imagery of sawdust, sweat, and sinister whispers. Another ad flashes across the page, this time for a line of wrestling action figures, each sculpted to immortalize top stars, sold individually or in complete sets for the collector who must have them all. These middle pages serve as a bridge between technical ring stories and the sensational, casting the magazine as equal parts sports chronicle and pulp drama. The next feature roars to life with the real rock and wrestling connection, penned by Ernie Santilli, and it blasts past the surface story of Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano to reveal a deeper, more tangled alliance between the music business and the wrestling world, charting how concerts, television, and the mat have merged into a single spectacle that moves both tickets and records. The prose packed with behind-the-scenes details and a sense of cultural momentum. Then, the spotlight shifts to the Lariat, Texas Rides Again, where Lonnie Mars tells the tale of Stan Hansen, the Texas-born brawler who has become a national hero in Japan, proving that his clothesline, his feared lariat, speaks a universal language in wrestling rings from Tokyo to Amarillo. The article blending travelogue with fight record, and a reminder that some moves need no translation. An ad break slices into the features, like a manager interfering mid-match. Full-page mail-order spreads for wrestling magazines by subscription. Collectible poster sets rolled in tubes, and novelty items like foam hands and iron-on patches, all demanding you send in your check or money order today. The regional reports start to line up at the edge of the stage, the teasers promising that the territory news to come will connect the far corners of the wrestling map. But before the magazine hands the microphone to the correspondents, another pocket-sized ad tempts readers with a discount on multi-year subscriptions, dangling the promise of never missing an issue of Wrestling World. The territory spotlight ignites with the Eastern Report by Al Tessitore, laying out the latest cards, rivalries, and title movements in the Northeast with the clipped efficiency of a ringside announcer rattling off results. Big houses drawn, unexpected turns, and challengers lining up for their shots. Next comes the Southern Report by South Carolina Williams, painting the picture of a hotbed where grudges simmer under the sweltering heat. Champions defend under constant threat, and the fans treat every bout like a family affair. Len Matthews' Midlands Report keeps the momentum going, detailing the Central States scene where up-and-comers test themselves against seasoned veterans, and where one surprise win can shift an entire card's dynamic. Twig Martin's Western Report follows, charting the action from California to the Rockies, the tone hinting at both opportunity and volatility as promotions try to expand their reach. Rounding out the set, George Napolitan delivers the Caribbean Report, a vibrant, fast-moving recap of matches under the tropical sun where tempers flare as fast as the weather changes, all with the implication that the region is a proving ground for talent with international aspirations. Between these reports, smaller ads pepper the pages, offers for wrestling books filled with photos and title histories, exclusive fan club memberships with newsletters and behind-the-scenes scoops, and discount packages for multiple back issues. The final stretch opens with the fan club directory, a dense roll call of official organizations dedicated to every imaginable star, each entry listing the club name, mailing address, and promises of exclusive newsletters, glossy photos, and direct contact with the wrestlers' inner circles, an open invitation for readers to pledge their loyalty in print. Between these lists, ads muscle their way onto the page, custom airbrush jackets bearing lifelike portraits of your favorite grapplers, vinyl banners to unfurl at live events, and bundles of signed 8x10 photos ready for framing. A rumor roundup column stirs the pot. dropping territory gossip and speculative whispers about possible returns, new alliances, and the shifting fortunes of current champions. A retrospective feature takes a respectful pause to honor a ring veteran's storied career, recounting championship reigns, famous feuds, and the defining promos that built their legacy. Merchandising roars back in for a final push. Limited edition medallions, bumper stickers shouting your allegiance, and VHS highlight reels touting the most unforgettable matches of recent years. The letters page returns one last time, delivering another jolt of reader passion, from glowing tributes to blistering critiques, the kind of engagement that proves the magazine's pulse beats in sync with its audience. A lightning-round territory update sweeps across the country, rapid-fire notes on main events, title changes, and surprise angles. Then the back cover hits you like a main event climax, a full-page advertisement for a mail-order VHS collection, promising the most brutal, controversial, and unforgettable matches of the last decade. Daring you to order now, and warning that after watching, you will never see wrestling the same way again.